Hey everybody, JC here. Just wanted to do a video about this. Been kind of planning it for a little while because I got a Hinderer Jurassic about, I don't know, month and a half ago, something like that. Been using it, you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's got some dirt on it and stuff like that. I mean, I do wipe it off every time I use it, but I'll be using it for a bunch of things at work. And I just kind of started to keep track and write down of what I use a knife for. Because, you know, you see a bunch of reviewers and there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not talking about any reviewers because there's certain things that people want a knife in. You got the fidget guys that want a real fidgety knife. You got guys that kind of like me that just, I'm a mechanic and I do welding and fabrication also. So I'm constantly cutting stuff at work, constantly using it for different things. And I just, you know, I like something that's, you know, sturdy, you know, per se. There is, you know, different things I use a slicey knife for. Just let me move this out of the way so I'm not hitting it. I do use slicier knives for, like, you know, we do open a lot of parts boxes. We break down cardboard and stuff, throw it away. I do it at home. When you got kids, you're breaking down cardboard constantly, as you guys know that have kids. So I do use it for that, but I wanted to do a video about what I use a knife for besides opening boxes. So, wrote down some stuff here. And first thing, it's kind of a weird thing, but if you're a mechanic, you know what I'm talking about. You clean under your fingernails with a knife. I use it for that all the time. Another thing, I do it daily pretty much, cutting zip ties. And have you guys ever gotten parts in or anything in that's big, that's on a pallet, and you know, you have those green clear zip ties? Cutting those all the time. You have to have a pretty good knife to cut through those. Those things are pretty tough sometimes. Obviously the metal ones, I don't cut through it. I just use a pair of dikes if that's the case. But use it for wire strippers or wire cutters. You cutting sheathing or wire loom to get to the wire. I use them for those all the time at work. Cutting food. I just clean my knife off. You know, if you got to cut a peach up or an apple or, you know, whatever you use. I eat a lot of fruit. So, you know, sometimes oranges even are a pain in the butt to get started. So I just cut a little slice off of them and then peel them that way. So yeah, I cut food with them all the time. So one thing as a mechanic, sometimes you need a funnel. You don't have one on you, especially if you're out in the field doing something. So I don't have a water bottle on me, but get you a water bottle and you just cut it in half. So you cut the water bottle to where it's open and you can use that as a makeshift funnel. I've done it before at the house too, you know, because I didn't feel like going and getting one at the shop, or you wanted one that was clean to use for something, you know, food grade. Those of you guys that do carpentry, sharpening pencils. If you have a pencil, you want to sharpen it, sharpen a pencil with it. Cutting strings off your clothing. When you're doing welding, especially, you know, you're getting constantly little holes and crap, or you catch it on something, or, you know, and you get a string coming off and you don't want it to unravel. So, you know, you can cut clothing with it too as well, but cut strings, I do that. We're talking about the fidget stuff. There is a fidget factor to knives. So, you know, use it as stress factor, you know, stress relief. So to me, sometimes just, you know, opening and closing a knife in your hand, or putting your hand, you know, if you're just sitting there, you want to take a break or something, you can use it for that, you know. Or some people I know sit on the couch and open and close their knives and fidget with them and stuff. You know, you could cut yourself doing that, so, but it happens. Removing stickers, like stickers and decals, like license plate stickers. We have to replace the stickers at work on all the vehicles. So a lot of times you just, especially if they get hard and brittle, they don't want to come off, you just scrape them off with a knife. So hose, cut a lot of hose, like heater hose, different types of hose, things like that at work. Cut it to length. Sometimes you got to cut it off to get to the hose because something's been sitting on a truck for 15 years. It doesn't want to come off, even with a screwdriver. So you got to basically cut it off. So definitely cut plenty of hose. Cutting rope, cutting all kinds of different rope. Honestly, at work, we do have a marina there. So there's a couple boats that we have. We have a barge. We do dredging. So the tie rope, cutting tie rope, and that stuff's thick. Cutting tie rope, that'll tell you if you got a cheap Walmart knife or a nice high grade steel. A super steel to be specific, because once you cut a couple pieces of rope, the real nice thick nylon stuff, that'll wear it out. I don't recommend using a knife for prying, But I have been using a lot for doing little tiny prying type of things with plastic, especially like the other day. I had to replace batteries in a remote, so I just used my knife to pry it open. If you didn't have a little screwdriver with you, I use it for that. I have tools in the truck I use for prying, so I've heard people saying they're breaking their knives, you know, getting brake pads off and stuff like that. I don't use it for that type of stuff, but sometimes if you got to pry like a little piece of wood or something, or open up a little gap in something that's plastic, I do use it for that a lot. Cutting bungees and straps. I mean, you got to do it. I mean, if you got a bungee that's just knotted or something, you got to cut it loose. You got to do that. At work, I know on the side of the mowers, they have the flap, and they use a bungee to kind of put it up when they get it up on the trailer, so you don't catch the end and break it off on the trailer. So they just use a bungee and tie it up, and then, you know, pull it off. Then that way that it's quick use when they're cutting and stuff. So we have to cut bungee cord all the time. And straps get rusted, they get screwed up. You got to cut straps sometimes. And last but not least, and like I said, this isn't everything. This is just stuff I've been thinking of over the past couple weeks. But tobacco plugs. You guys that smoke pipe tobacco and you've had to smoke, or if you've had to cut tobacco plugs, how much of a pain in the butt it is. So a good, nice, sharp knife comes in handy doing that. If you don't have a sharp knife, cutting a tobacco plug, you're pretty much cut yourself, or it'll just be such a pain in the butt you don't want to deal with it. And that's probably half the people's problem, because I see a lot of people, like the 3Ps, for instance, they say they don't like it because they got to cut the plug up, or salty dogs, or, you know, whatever, list goes on. But if you got a real good sharp knife, the knives I use anyways, they all have pretty good edges on them, and if they don't, I'll grab one that is sharp, you know? So it's not a big deal for me. I don't mind cutting tobacco plugs up. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about the video, or what you think about what you use a knife for besides opening boxes, because, you know, like I said, and I have nothing against it, but I think a lot of these videos now are geared toward just the fidget factor of a knife and not hard use and what you're actually using a knife for. Now, there are some people out there that all they use it for is opening a box, and that's fine. You know, that's if that's what you're going to use it for, using it for like a letter opener or opening boxes all day long, or cutting cardboard all day long, that's fine too. And you want a real slicey knife. You don't want something like this just for, you know, cutting boxes up all day long. I mean, even though I have cut plenty of boxes with this, it's not a problem. So anyways, that's pretty much the end of the video, and let me guys know what you think.